All right, so this is just going to be a quick message to all of my people who are trying to succeed in this music journey. And I'm just going to get right to it. Most of your family and most of your friends are not going to support you on the journey, especially on your way up. It's not going to happen. As much as a lot of them say that they're going to be there for you, it's not going to happen. As much as you think that favorite uncle, that favorite cousin, that favorite best friend, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, as much as they say that they're going to support you, they're not. They're probably going to support somebody who is already pretty much famous and somebody who has already had success in this music business. They're going to support them before they support you. They're going to play their music over and over and over again before they play your music. Now, I'm not going to say it's not going to be everybody. I'm not saying it's not going to be everybody, but most of them are not going to support your music the way you support it. That's why I try to tell people when you get into this game, you got to understand that you have to think about and do you first. Because nobody is going to come around until they see all the glitz and glamour. I'm telling you, when I was in college, people thought I was crazy for doing music because it was taboo back then. People weren't doing music like how they're doing now. Like people used to look at me differently, and I did have some support. I did, but I didn't have that much family support. I did not have that much family support. There were family members who did believe in what I was doing, and it was kind of cool for me to, do music. And from time to time, people would want to come by the studio and, get on the microphone a little bit and, and think it's like a cool thing to do. But they never really looked at, okay, just for you to get on that microphone, it cost me $1,000 for that microphone. It cost me another at that time, $2,200 for a computer. Then the programs, and then just having the studio alone getting built out. No help, no support from that, nothing. Then think about all the drum machines and keyboards and cords and cables and interfaces and compressors and preamps and all this stuff I had to get just so that they could get in there and just play around in the studio for a couple minutes. And then when they left, they left. And that's family and friends. I'm not saying all of them, but most of them. And the crazy part about it is the moment when I had that successful time, boy, they were posting and posting away, and people I haven't seen from college were super happy, and people I haven't seen from years from high school, they were just, oh my goodness, man, it's good to see you, bro. Da, da, da. And then it was like, oh my goodness, man, I got a little cousin, little Ray want to rap. I'm telling you, he's one of the dopest ones. Let me put you on the phone with his daddy right now. Let me do this, let me do that. And oh my goodness, they want to make posts and all on Facebook. Look at my nephew. You know what I'm saying? Look at my cousin. Oh, look at my best friend. I'm like, dang, I didn't know we were best friends like that. That's my homie from back in the day. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I've seen a lot of that. Now, I'm not saying that I wasn't happy about it. Don't get me wrong. I was very happy about it and it was cool. But I knew where my place was with those people because there wasn't a lot of them that came to any studio sessions. Actually, none of them actually came to any studio sessions. None were very interested in coming to any studio sessions or anything like that. But when the fame happened, when things started blowing up for you, boy, and mind you, I'm not big like a lot of these other producers out here. I'm not nowhere near as big as some of these producers. But in their eyes, man, he made it. And then came all the requests for business ideas. Hey, man, I got this business idea, man. I need to run by you, man. I'm telling you, man, if we get this thing off the ground, man, we're going to get this thing going. We just need the capital for it. And man, I'm telling you right now, this is a surefire thing that's going to happen. And oh man, hey man, can you please come over here to my daughter's school so you can show up and teach them how to produce? And oh man, coming for career day, man, it'll be great for you to show up, man. It'll be great, and this, that, whatever. And I silently declined. And that's one thing that you have to learn how to do. You either got to say no, or you got to silently decline. And the silently decline is like, yeah, I'll look into it. I'll see what's going on. And then you just silently back away from it to where they just kind of know like, nah, he ain't going to do it. But you don't necessarily say no. But really you say no, but it's not like a hard no. But yeah, I went through a lot of that. And it's crazy because I stayed in contact with a lot of these people throughout my journey. You know what I'm saying? And even some of the times when I was really kind of going through it, I was kind of hitting like, hey, oh man, it's getting kind of rough out here, man. Man, if I could just make sure I get these bills and stuff paid up, man, this, that, whatever. Oh man, yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, that is crazy, Bolo. Yeah. You just got to find a way to get these bills paid up, man. You got to find a way to get them paid up, man. Yeah. That was the response I would get a lot. Or like, man, boy, I know, shoot, it'd be cool if I had this one piece of equipment, man, it'll really take my thing to the next level, even though I know, you can kind of help me out a little bit, and I'll look out, hoping that, they will at least say, yeah, I'll look out for you a little bit. But they didn't. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn in the beginning, because this is when I was, in my early 20s, and I was looking for a handout. I really was. I was looking for a handout from people, and I was really hoping that that handout would come. But thanks be to God that it never came, because it taught me a really good lesson. By the time I turned 25 years old, I knew that nobody was not going to help me more than I helped myself. And I had to take a deep dive into this thing and hope that I can resurface without drowning in this lust to become successful in this music business. Because really, it turns into like a lust at this point. Like, when you're deep into it, it's a lust thing. You're chasing after a lust factor in becoming somebody successful in music. And you just go at it and you chase it, and you just chase it like it's lust in a sense. But I knew once I got in my mid-20s, I knew it ain't gonna be no handouts. It's not gonna be there. And I'm not gonna ask nobody for nothing. Now, even in my mid-20s, I did come to a point where I had to ask somebody for a handout, and they did come through for me because I kind of panicked a little bit. And it was kind of like a trade-off, because I had a studio and they basically paid me for like 2 months of my studio at that time. So it was kind of like a trade-off, because boom, you paid me, but you already, they were already getting the keys to my studio already, you know what I'm saying? And it was kind of like, all right, cool. I'll look out for you. But I kind of panicked because the rest of that month, I did make up all the money I need to make, plus a little bit more for me to, keep going, to keep the studio doors open, to pay the house note and car payments and, utilities and everything else. So it was a time where I did need that. And I asked 2 people, one person flaked on me, the other person came through for me. And, but it was still kind of like a trade-off, because whenever I ask for anything, I always make sure it's not just strictly on me. I try to make sure like, hey, do you need some beats? Do you need anybody you need to record? Well, like, what do you want me to do for this? Because I try to work for it rather than just getting it and that's it. And that happened one time. And I'm very grateful for that. And the thing about it is, out of all the people I knew I couldn't ask other people. I knew I could only ask those 2 people. And out of those 2, only one said that they'll help me out. Everybody else, I didn't even think to ask, because I knew what it was, because some of them I asked, for little things before, like, hey man, I'm up in school, I'm trying to do this music thing, man. Can you just, can you send me, this is back then when you had to use Western Union. Can you send me like $50, man? I'm just trying to, go out and, just make sure my bills and stuff are paid or whatever. And it never happened. The only person who really had my back at that time were, my parents and my mom. She really looked out for me. And, once things started really going, it happened after my mom passed, and she looked after me after her passing by leaving me enough to get this music journey going. And I had just enough to get it started. And then from there, I had to build from that. So I thank God for that, even though I really wish I could have my mother here. But I thank God that even through that, I had enough to at least get me started. And then even while I did have the money to get started, I still, end up spending my last on it. And I spent my last on it, getting it started. And then once I got it started, it was moving. And then the recession hit, and then things slowed down. I got to the point where I had to ask my homeboy for some money because I was really running things like a studio rather than me running things like a producer trying to produce hit records. And then once I got down to that last little bit, I made so much more after that, because once you kind of get to a point where you know how to make money in any type of situation, you pretty much know how to keep doing it. And you just have a mindset of, I know how much I need, I know how much I'm going to make, and I'm going to find a way to do this. And I had to do it whether it was music or not. Now, it was nothing never illegal, but it was just like, okay, if I had to pull up and get a job, whatever I had to do, I was going to do it on my own and be responsible for myself. But luckily, after that, things really went up for me. I had got more help. My guy Q, who had a studio in downtown Atlanta, he let me use his spot completely for free, as long as I just helped out with his artists and stuff like that, and maybe had to do a few things around his business. Then my guy Doe had a spot. He let me use his spot. He didn't charge me too much, and then after a while, he just let me use it for free. And then after that point, the whole Silento situation came in, and then I was able to get some recording budget to go back over to his spot. So it was always like a trade-off with me, whatever I did. But nobody could help. A lot of my friends didn't want to help, or they couldn't. Some people just financially couldn't do it, but they were not going to do it. Like, I would hear stuff like, yeah, man, I'll try to see what I can do. And this is from family and friends. And I knew certain family that could really do it, because they'll say no, but then they'll turn right back around and they'll buy stuff from them. And that's the lens I was looking at it from when I was younger. Like, man, I asked them for some money, but they turned around and bought themselves a new car, and they got them new chains and everything, but they can't help me out with $250. And I used to sit there and think like that. But then as I got older, I was like, you know what? That's not the way to think. The way to think is worry about you and worry about what you can do, and just keep pressing on. Because now there's a few people right now who hit me up from time to time and, hey, Bolo, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And I'm like, I'll see. I kind of smoothly just back away from it. But just know, man, like, you have to do this yourself, and you cannot depend on anybody to support you. If they do, you got to look at that as like icing on the cake. Okay. You got to look at that as like an extra, a bonus, because it's not really too many people who do it. And then you got to be careful on who's supporting you and why they're supporting you. Are they trying to do this for some extra monetary gain? Are they trying to do this to use you in a sense? You got to be really careful with this, because even when I got my success, there was a whole bunch of new people coming my way. And luckily, I've been through enough to where I could kind of weed and see, like, okay, this ain't the right thing. And then might be some people that come in and they really have a really good disguise on, and they'll come through and they'll really try to, place themselves in your situation and try to milk you out. And luckily, I got out of one of those situations early on. And I'm glad I got out of that, because that could have been really bad and I could have really hurt somebody in a sense. But I do want to say shout out to all the people who did help me along the way. I'm not saying that people did not help me, which they did, and who I mentioned in this video. But I do want to say, excuse me, I almost lost my voice. I do want to say that it is going to be very hard for a lot of your family and friends to support you if they do not see the vision. And you don't get mad at them. I'm just telling you guys right now, they're not going to see the vision. But when they see the vision, and then when they see you start growing at it and they start coming around, don't be mean to them. Don't be mean to them. Don't be nasty to them. Still be the same you, because you're not going to change. They're going to change more than you are. They're going to change because they're going to start treating you not like a friend or a family. They're going to start treating you like a business, and just be prepared for that. And then just learn to say no. A lot of situations I say no right now, and people may get mad or whatever, but I'm telling you right now, saying no is so liberating right now, because a lot of times it will get you out of situations that you did not even want to be in, and that hard no will stop it completely. And guess what? You may lose a few people that way, but guess what? That's some people that you probably didn't need around you in the first place. So just understand, on this journey up, it's going to be very few who's going to support you. But the ones who do, that's the ones who deserve the reward.